How has your faith influenced your views on immigration?
I think it was reading through the Bible end to end a couple of years ago. Sorry, let me start that again. I started reading through the Bible every couple of years, probably about a decade ago. And I remember having a moment of coming across the repeated scriptures about caring for the widow, the orphan, and the sojourner, and finding myself convicted that my political views did not necessarily line up with what scripture was teaching. And it kind of started me on this journey to better understand what was this biblical mandate to care for those on the margins, and what does that look like, and therefore how should my policy perspectives align. So that's probably how I started that faith journey, and certainly now embrace a perspective of loving my neighbor means loving the person across the street, and caring about what they need, as well as those who are coming to the United States seeking help. How can we help them?
Elizabeth, you spent a lot of time in national security, and that is your background. How do you reconcile the need for national security in our country with the biblical mandate to care for vulnerable immigrants and refugees who are coming to our country?
They're not mutually exclusive. We can do both. We can have strong security and we can be welcoming. That my biggest push from a security perspective is we want to know who is here, that they have a lawful reason to be here, or basically why do they want to come, and then we want to know that they are who they say they are, and that is usually what we frame in the vetting context. That's the reason we vet people that come here, whether they're traveling on a travel visa or crossing at a port of entry, on our southern border or northern border. We want to know that that document that you present is a lawful document from another country, that you are who you say you are. And then we check a bunch of lists and make sure that you're not a bad guy, that you don't have ill intent for coming into the United States. So that's what we need from a security perspective. And it can be done, but the system right now is just really overburdened. There's too many people, not enough resources to process those people, which is why we really need Congress to act. This is a solvable problem that challenges a lack of resources and needing to update some of our laws that haven't been updated in 40 years at this point.
If you could instantly implement one new policy in the immigration space, what would it be and why?
So I'm going to say that I am going to emphasize the need for strengthening our safety and security on our border. And it's primarily not just a policy change, it's a resource change. We just don't have enough resources applied to be able to do the asylum system effectively. We have way too many backlogs because things aren't resourced well. And because we have those backlogs, it acts as a magnet. It actually draws people to the United States because they know they can wait for years and years and years before their claim is heard. And that is immoral for those who have legitimate asylum claims and definitely deserve an answer and some security that they can come in and live here because their asylum claim has been met. And for those that are here under a claim that is never going to be met, the humane thing is to say, sorry, we can't admit you. It's time to go home in a short period of time as opposed to the years that it takes. So I would work to fix the asylum system. And it's not just a policy adjustment. It really is about the resourcing that needs to follow so that we can do this much more quickly than we currently do.
How can everyday women become more informed and engaged in meaningful conversations about immigration?
I think you always want to start with to be curious and ask questions, especially if you're engaging in conversations with people who might have different perspectives than you. And do what you're already doing by following Women of Welcome, and taking advantage of the resources that they're offering, the education that they offer, not only on the basics of immigration, but when there's legislation that's coming before Congress, that is a great place to go to find out the nuts and bolts of, is this a good piece of legislation or is it not? Having worked in Washington, D.C. for a number of years, there's never perfect. The goal is never perfection, but compromise is an important part of our democratic process, and we need to find a way to compromise to make progress on our immigration system.